Hello everyone, and welcome back to Howling Hoosier Outdoors. Today we have an extremely experimental DIY video that we're going to try today. So I recently picked up this vintage fiberglass bow at a local antique store, and it doesn't have a bowstring with it. And I could use paracord, I could go order one on the internet. However, I want to try and make my own primitive-esque bowstring using this. This is just natural craft hemp twine, and we're gonna see if we can make a bowstring out of it. So I know historically mixing primitive equipment and modern equipment is not typically looked upon as a good idea. This is more of a learning and experimental thing for me. I did a once over on this bow. I'm not seeing any splits in the fiberglass or any breaks or runs or anything like that, so it should theoretically still be good to go. Based on the size and the thickness and everything of it and the draw weight, it feels like an extremely light poundage bow. So I imagine at one point this was actually a youth bow, somewhere between 20 and 30 pounds. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into this. Alright, so the way that I'm going to try and do this is I'm going to take 6 strands of this jute twine, and I want this to be probably about a foot longer than the size or the length of the actual bow. So there is the bow. Then I'm going to add, eyeballing it, I'm going to add about 1.5 feet, just because this is going to shrink on me once I start doing the twist on it. And using that first cut as a guide, I am going to get 6 cuts of that. Alright, so now that I got my 6 cuts of the the hemp cord, then we're going to start doing a reverse wrap in order to create a loop into the bow, the bowstring. Alright, so I have my 6 strands of twine here. I'm going to break it into 2 segments of 3. 2, 3. So I got 2 bundles of 3 going. And now I'm going to try and measure 8 inches, about 1 hand span for me, down. And then I'm going to start reverse wrapping it. And this is going to create my first loop. So if y'all remember from my previous video, I'm going to pinch, reverse, and up, and pinch, reverse, up, pinch, reverse, up. I'm going to keep doing this until I get to the end of this line. Alright, you can see I got a good segment here, and from now, I got about 3 inches left on my braid here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that back into itself, and that's going to create our loop. And then I'm going to simply reverse wrap like that. And hopefully that is enough to reinforce this loop so it won't break on me when I start actually using it. Towards and away, towards and away. Alright, so now that that's all wrapped up into itself, let's see, I'm pulling on it, it's not unraveling, and set it down, it's not unraveling. So now I'm going to simply reverse wrap the rest of the length of rope. And I'm going to be right back, guys, because this is probably going to take a minute. Alright, so now that we are at the end of our reverse wrap, what we're going to do is we're going to throw in an overhand stopper knot. That's just going to keep everything from fraying up on us. And now we're going to create our boy ears knot, so that way we can adjust it when we're attaching it to the bow. So you create a loop, you go through, And then when it's time to lock it in at the size that you want, you're going to go over 3 times. Over and over again. But I have to be on the actual bow in order for that to set right. Alright, so I got my safety glasses on in case something goes horribly wrong. So what I'm going to do now is create that bowyer's knot that I just demonstrated. I'm going to attempt to eyeball this onto the proper brace height, which is incredibly difficult, especially for me who's just a oh, that is way too big. Especially for someone like me who's just a recreational archer. Now, I already know that I'm not going to be able to bring this up to full draw, simply because of the size. My brace height is going to be off because I don't have my little ruler. The intent was just to see if I could make a functional bow, or a functional bowstring, utilizing this hemp cord. So we're going to go through. That's going to make it adjustable to where I need it to be. That should put it right about there. And set. Now I know that that is not the right brace height. I know that, oh, I'm slipping down there now. There we go. All right. I know that that is not the right brace height. I would not even be able to bring this back to a full draw. And these knocks are actually too small for the size of the rope. Something I didn't realize until actually just now. But it is actually holding under pressure. And this is probably, like I said, this is a youth bow, so it's probably about as far as a kid would be able to draw this back. So, either way, Experiment 101, success. All right, folks. If you have any experience with actual voyeurism and making your own bowstrings, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, questionable life choices, or epiphanies, please feel free to leave them also in the comments. Thank y'all, folks. Stay awesome.